What's up, everybody? So this is Barber Studio 44, and we are going to talk about the TPOB Play. This is the original Play. This is not the Play Mini. This is not the Play 2 Max. This is the original Play. Okay, as you guys can see here. Okay, this is TPOB Pro. You can see Pro right there. So this is TPOB's premium tools. Okay, he's got like entry level tools, like his slime candy, slime 2, and a few other things. This is his Pro series. So his Pro series is supposed to be for professional barbers, right? It's supposed to be good enough quality to where you can use it in a professional setting, an actual barbershop slash salon. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the packaging for the TPOB. As you guys can see here, I keep all my boxes and stuff because just in case I'm going to potentially resell the product and stuff. So I keep the boxes. And so if we're talking about the packaging, we'll go ahead and get this out the way for a little bit. If we're talking about the packaging, guys, TPOB packaging is very premium. Okay, like honestly, he's got some of the coolest packaging that I have seen for barber supplies. I mean, it's just so unique. The drawings kind of remind me of like Rick and Morty and stuff. You open it up, it's got more drawings there. It's got more of his stuff in here, you know. And it's just you could feel the quality when it comes to the packaging. I love all the colors. They're very vibrant and it just makes you feel like you have something worth collecting. Honestly, when I purchase TPOB products and I get his boxes, it almost makes me feel like I have a new pair of like Jordans or something like that. You know, like it's just really premium packaging, and I think that it's like top of the line. You know, I've had Babyliss before, I've had Andis, and their stuff is I've had Wall too, and their packaging is nowhere near as nice as his. Okay, so the packaging, I'd give the packaging like a 9 out of 10. You know, it's really, really good. Okay. Here goes the back right here. Kind of gives you the specs and stuff on, like, look at that, bro. You look at the back and you get the specs on the, clipper, which I can easily just go based off of this and tell you guys about the clipper, type of deal. So we'll get that back into view and stuff. So now let's just go ahead and talk about the thing at hand, the TPOB play clipper itself, right? So we're going to talk about the tool quality. Okay, we're going to talk about the quality. So when I took this out of the box and I held it, I really can feel the build quality. Like you could feel the material. For one, it's well balanced, okay? It's well balanced. I really like that. And that kind of also has to do with the ergonomics, but it's also the build quality. It's the materials. Is the plastic balanced with the metal and so forth. Okay, so you could feel the quality. The quality's very good. It feels very premium. This is very nice. The bottom part here, it feels very nice, the material. The only issue though is most barbers, I think most good barbers, you see that the thumb is right there, right? It's like most barbers are going to hold this, like this, right? And you guys will notice that I'm left-handed, okay? So I'm not a right-handed barber. I am a left-handed barber, okay? But the build quality is really nice. It's well balanced. And again, it's very colorful and vibrant, which I enjoy. But yeah, you're going to hold your clipper like way up here. So other than like your pinky and maybe the finger next to your pinky, you're really not going to hold this part. So even though it's nice, it feels nice, it's like you're not really using that part. You're more so using this top part up here. Okay. But either way, it still feels very nice. So the build quality is really good. I would give the build quality also, again, we're just talking about the materials and how they feel. I'd give the build quality a 9 out of 10 as well. Okay, the build quality is really good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the ergonomics on this clipper. The ergonomics, again, kind of going back to what I just said, the balance of it is really good. Okay, it's very well balanced. Okay, it doesn't feel too heavy up top. It doesn't feel too heavy on the lower end. It just feels right. Okay, and I love the straight profile that it has. Okay, as you guys can see here, this is the side view of it, and it's got a straight profile, which with a left-handed barber that comes in handy for me, and I will explain why. Okay, this is what it looks like with the lever all the way back. You can see that there's still a little bit of material in the back of the lever there. Okay, and that does matter when it comes to a left-handed barber. Okay, so the ergonomics of it are really great. Again, I need it to be straight unless it has the option to switch the lever to the left-hand side, which it does not. Okay, it's just on the left-hand side of the machine. Yeah, so the ergonomics of this are really good. They're not the best, because I would say the ergonomics on his slime or slime candy or slime 2, those ergonomics are more traditional to your standard clipper, and those ergonomics I would say are the best for me for a left-handed barber. Okay, so next let's talk about the lever. Okay, so the lever is a click lever. Here you can hear it. Okay, hear that clicking. Now, I don't know if it has the option to turn it into a floating lever. Most of them do. It just has a mechanism on the inside there that you just take out, and it can make it a floating lever, but it comes as a click lever, and the clicks are very nice. You could really feel them when you're switching that lever. Really nice. Now, as a left-handed barber, the lever makes a huge difference. And the difference is how far does that lever go back? Because as a left-hand barber, I have to hold the clipper from this end. You could see that my hand is on the same side as the lever, okay? Because both of them are on the left. For right-handed barbers, you guys would hold it this way, and the lever's on that side. You guys do that, and then when you switch, you go like that and stuff like that. You go down. It's very, very useful to you guys, but for the most part, the lever does not bother you guys. But for a left-handed barber like myself, it's on the same side as that lever. So that lever cannot go too far back. Otherwise, when I'm cutting, my index finger right there will push the lever up, and I basically can never have the lever on the last thing. Otherwise, I got to hold it in an awkward position. So fortunately for me, this original Play clipper, the lever does not go too far back. I can comfortably still hold it and cut and switch, from open to close, and it's not going to affect my ability to cut somebody's hair. Now, I do still I still feel the lever. I feel the lever back there, but it's not so far back to where my finger will push it up. Okay, so I would say for a left-handed barber, okay, like myself, the lever is very nice. I like the clicks. One thing you will notice is it doesn't have notches that you can see, to where you can know by looking at it which where it's at in the lever cycle. But if you just kind of start at the beginning or start at the very end, and then you can go from there, and you could tell whether it's in the middle or not. By the way, too, the lever does have a total of 5 clicks, I want to say. So there is a middle. I believe it's when it has five notches is when there's a middle. Because I did have one of the TPOB slimes when they first came out, and I think it only had 4 notches, so there was no middle, okay, which was really, but he's since fixed that, and we'll talk about that when we review one of his slimes, okay? but the lever is very nice and stuff, and it is usable for a left-handed barber. So I would give his lever, again, because it's usable, but it still does go a little far back. So I would give his lever, for the TPOB Play original clipper, I'd give it a I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Okay. Maybe a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because, again, it would be nice if there were, if there was a thing where I could see what notch it's on. You won't know what notch it's on until you take it all the way to the closed or all the way to open. So seeing what notch it's on the side would be nice. And then, again, it does kind of go a little far back. So it's still usable, but it's noticeable, as opposed to his other clippers. And yeah, so I give his lever a 7 out of 10. Okay, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I kind of feel like 8 though is a little, for those improvements that are needed. I feel like an 8 is kind of up there. So we'll give it a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the blade and the motor. Okay, so this clipper has the TPOB EXO play blade. Okay, it has the I believe it's the wedging there, which is really nice. I've noticed that the blades that have the wedges, that are far down there, they tend to cut better as opposed to a clipper that has a blade that has like a smooth bottom, and it doesn't open up the teeth until up top there. I noticed that they don't cut as well. So this one has a really nice blade on it. This blade is sharp. You don't got to worry about this blade catching the hair. It never catches. I've never had this blade catch the hair. It's very sharp and stuff. It's got a metal moving inner teeth part there. So it's not ceramic. So that's nice and stuff. Very nice blade. Okay. No complaints about the blade at all. And the motor, I want to say this has a let's see here, what kind of motor. It has a Acme motor with two speed settings from 6,000 to 7,500 RPMs. Okay, so it has an Acme motor. I believe it's the same motor that you would see in a JRL clipper. So when you turn it on, it's nice and quiet. Okay. Now, normally you guys would be like, bro, turn it on so we can hear it. Well, that's going to be one of the downsides to this review. After 5 months after purchasing this clipper, it performed very well for 5 months, but it stopped working and it no longer turns on. And as you guys can see, I have it in the charging dock. The charging dock is hooked up to a outlet here, which is plugged into the wall, but it still does not work. Yeah, it still doesn't work. So that is one of the downsides to this clipper, and we'll talk about that when it comes to the performance. But I can't show you guys what the motor sounds like because the wiring or something like that basically went out on me after 5 months. So the clipper no longer works. Okay. And again, we'll talk about that. But as far as like when it did work, the motor was very quiet, but it was also very strong. And again, the blade is great. So I would give the blade I'd give the blade like a 9 out of 10. And I'd give the motor, when it was working, I'd give the motor a 8.5 out of 10. The motor was pretty strong. It's not a vector motor, like how some of the other clippers out there are. So it's not like the best. Like the Stylecraft, what is it, Vector or whatever the fuck it's called? The one that has the Vector motor. That one is probably like a 10 out of 10 or something like that. But, the motor for this one, it's really good, and I would give it a 9 out of 10, okay, when it's working. All right. So next, we're going to talk about the performance, all right? So the performance on this clipper when it's working is really good. Okay, you could really tell that it's premium. It's got a premium motor in it and stuff like that. It's quiet, it's not too loud. The performance is really good. Again, that blade cuts the hair right off. You're able to actually move very quickly with this blade, with this motor. You don't have to like kind of go slow when you're cutting through bulk. It cuts bulk pretty well. Okay. Again, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as a vector motor with a really good blade like a Stylecraft. But again, those clippers, bro, this, oh, we'll talk about the price next. But those clippers with the vector motors and, like the Stylecrafts, you're talking about like a $300 to $400 clipper. This is nowhere near that price. So the quality that you're getting with this and price range is a lot better compared to, the Stylecraft. However, I'm sure the Stylecraft outlasts this one. Okay, so we'll talk about all that later. All right, so as far as the performance goes, man, I really didn't have any issues with it when it was working, and I would say when it's working, the performance on this is really really good. I'd give the performance and I'd give it an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. Okay. It's like, it kind of is in between there, 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. Now, the next thing we would talk about is the longevity and the durability of this clipper. And this is where I have to rate it really, really bad. Okay. So again, I purchased this clipper off of Amazon, which that's great. I like to shop on Amazon. Amazon has 2-day delivery usually, or less time usually than that. So I really liked purchasing it on Amazon and stuff. But the longevity and durability of this clipper, unfortunately for me and some other people from what I saw, is not really good. I purchased it off of Amazon and it only lasted me 5 months. It only lasted me 5 months. And, I was using it pretty frequently. And again, when it was performing well. But after 5 months, I noticed what happened is the clipper came on. Okay. The clipper came on. But then when I tried to turn it off, the clipper was still going. And I was like, what the hell? And it just would not turn off. So it's like maybe it had something to do with the wiring on the inside or whatever. But regardless of the reason, when I pay, what I paid for this clipper, and we'll go over the price next, it's not as expensive as Babyliss or Stylecraft or Wall or Andis. It's not as expensive as that, but it's not cheap either still. And when I pay for this, I expect to have this clipper for at least 2 years, maybe 2.5 years before it craps out on me. And this thing crapped out after 5 months of use. Okay. And I was not happy about that. I felt robbed. And by that time, the return window was gone, so I couldn't return it and stuff. So I was not happy about that. So the longevity and the durability of this clipper is not good. And I saw people in the Amazon comments, the reviews, right? Excuse me, the Amazon reviews for this clipper. There was a lot of people that ran into the same problem. And some people even uploaded videos where they had the same issue. They turned it on, and then when they wanted to turn it off, it wasn't going off. Okay. And a lot of people just wrote about it. There was a guy, okay, listen to this, guys. There was a person who said that he bought one. It did exactly that to him. It would not turn off. He said he bought another two, and the same thing happened with the other two within a 6-month period. So he bought 3 different TPOB play clippers, and all 3 of them within I think he said like a 6 to 8 month period, crapped out on him the same way. So I think with the original TPOB play, this is an issue from the manufacturing. Okay, there's something within the components of it here that just makes it do that, and that's not cool. Honestly, I do not think it's cool that the owner, TPOB, I don't think it's cool that he continues to sell these when they do that. Contact the manufacturer, I'm assuming in China, and let them know, hey, this problem needs to be fixed. I'm presenting this clipper to be a certain kind of quality for my customers. And, I don't want people paying prices and the clipper going out after such a short period of time. My clipper should be working for at least a couple of years before it craps out. But I don't know if he did, and to be honest with you, especially after I read the review where the guy said he bought three of them and all three did the same thing, I refused to buy another one. I kind of felt robbed the first time, and I was like, I'm not about to pay another, almost, like $90 to $95, or, depending on if it's on sale or not. I've seen this. We'll talk about the price here in a second, but I'm not about to spend that kind of money. Again, it's not Babyliss money, it's not Stylecraft money, but I'm not about to spend X amount of dollars for something that's going to crap out within 5 months. Not going to do it. Okay, so the longevity and durability of this clipper is not good from my experience. I'm just talking about me. There might be some people out there who bought this clipper and it works for years and they're happy with it, and that's great for them. But my experience alone with this clipper was not good when it comes to longevity and durability. So I would give the longevity and durability of the TPOB play clipper, I would give it a shit, bro. I'd give it a 2. Only 5 months of use. That's a 2 out of 10 for me, bro. It's not that good. All right, so we'll talk about the price of the TPOB play clipper. So when I bought this clipper, it was not on sale, but it was priced at $90. So after tax, I think I spent about $95, $96 on this clipper. Now, for the premiumness of it, as far as the performance goes, I think that that's a really good price. It's really fair. Now, I've actually seen, though, on Amazon, this clipper will go down to about $70 when it's on sale. Okay. So that's a good price again for the performance. But again, if you're factoring in the risk you're taking for longevity and durability, I mean, I think that $70 is too high. If something is going to crap out on me within a 5-month period, I probably wouldn't want to spend no more than 15 to $20 on it. Honestly, I wouldn't even say 20. I'd say $15. If you're only going to last me 5 months, I spend 15 on it, use it for 5 months. And then, when it goes out, okay, I'll spend another 15, and $30, I have it for up to a little under a year. That's not that bad, but, even 70 to 75, or it'd really be $75 after tax. So $75 for only 5 months of use, that's still too short of a period of time. So, and again, that's when you catch it on sale. If it's not on sale, it's $90. So after tax, you're spending about 95, 96. That's way too high for something that's only going to last you 5 months. Okay. So, price is fair when it comes to performance, not fair when it comes to longevity and durability. So overall, do I think that the TPOB is worth the money? I don't, because it only lasted me 5 months, and I was pretty much out of $100, and I just felt like almost $100 for something that only lasted me 5 months is not a good trade-off. So I do not think that the TPOB play, the original clipper, the original TPOB play, not the mini, not the Play Max 2 or the Play 2 Max, the original TPOB play clipper, do I think it's worth the money based off of my experience with it? The performance is great, the build quality is great, the ergonomics are good, but the longevity and durability is shit. So I do not think that the TPOB play is worth the money. Okay. So what would I rate the TPOB play overall? Honestly, overall, I would only rate it a 4, you know? So, isn't that crazy? Like the build quality is great, the performance is great, the ergonomics is good, but again, that longevity and durability, man, just really takes it down there. You would have thought it would have been rated higher, but I would only rate the TPOB play a 4 out of 10 because it just does not last. Okay, again, that's my personal experience with the TPOB play, and I might be one of the very few that have that experience with it, but even the few matter, man. It really should not be. That's the thing. He should have something set up in place where you have a better warranty on it. Maybe give people a 1 year warranty. Hey, if it craps out on you in 1 year, we'll send you another one for free. But if you don't do that and people miss out on $95, $96, within a 5 month period, that's just not good business. So I would only rate the TPOB play a 4 out of 10. Well, okay, guys, that is my experiences with the TPOB play. Let me know what your experience with it is down in the comments. If you guys like this video, hit like. If you want to see more about TPOB and other clippers and stuff and their performances, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys later. Bye.